Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of the Third Fleet Podcast. This is episode number 12, and naturally, I'm here with Mr. Gaijin Hunter. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing good. I apologize if sometime during this podcast you are also greeted by sounds of hammers and yelling and screaming because the house next to our apartment decided they want to rebuild their house. So they're tearing it down the old-fashioned way with hammers and grunting men, and hopefully the microphone won't pick up too much of it.
The struggles of trying to podcast, you guys, it's completely insane. Sometimes there's just some noises that are out of our control, so we apologize for that. But other than
construction dragon.
The elder construction dragon. It's Rurikhan next door. It's not even an elder dragon. It's just Rurikhan. Bam, bam, with his chin. Bam, Jay Leno.
The natural calamity.
Other than suffering torture through your eardrums, how have you been doing this past week, sir?
Oh my gosh, I've been actually really good. The health has been actually pretty good. I went back to the clinic because I've been having heart palpitations pretty heavily for the last few weeks. And it's moved where I was having panic attack like symptoms. Those went away.
Damn.
I've been losing weight good. So it's been 2 months exactly to the day since I started losing weight. Like I went out and said, okay, today I'm going to start eating right and exercising. And I haven't been doing anything extreme by any means since I just haven't. But I've already lost 7 kilograms. I was about to say kilometers.
Nice. Yeah.
7 kilograms down, which is great. So I went to the doctor just to check it out because all signs point to this not being physical. So I've been hearing from a lot of people that it could be anxiety and stuff like that. I'm not quick to write anything off until the doctor tells me for sure. But we went back for electrocardiogram, and this time they managed to do it while I was having sort of the heart palpitations, like during the attack, which is great because then they can really see what's going on.
They have the data, yeah.
Yeah, and they recorded quite a long bit, and they found absolutely nothing. They said, look, if you had blocked arteries in your heart or whatever, we would have picked it up. They're like, your heart's fine. We did some extra blood work. I'll go in, I think, tomorrow to see the results to make sure I'm on the right track, but I think I am. And I think after I went to the doctor, I think knowing that it wasn't my heart because I had some family members that had some heart issues, the heart palpitations have gone way down to almost not being there. I'm thinking it might be anxiety because, it's a double whammy, right? Your brain sends a mixed signal to your body saying, hey, you're dying. You're having a heart attack. Oh my gosh, you're going to die. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? And then it's just constant barrage of worry. And you're like, in the last 24 hours, I've thought about this for 20 hours. It's like,
Jesus,
I can't stop.
Christ.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that does.
You worry about this stuff.
It does seem to get to the point where it does feel like anxiety. Because I remember a couple of years ago when I used to have this thing that would happen to me a couple of nights. I remember doing at least 5 times I went to the hospital at 2 a.m, thinking that I was having a heart attack. And it's when you're thinking that it's happening, it's really bad. You're like, holy crap, this is it. I have to do it now. I have to go now. And then you go, and as I'm driving, because I would drive myself. It's the dumbest thing too. I would drive myself to the hospital thinking that I'm having a heart attack. It's so dumb. But the thing is, my wife would have to stay home with the kids. Obviously, it's I wouldn't leave the kids unattended. But so I would go. By the time I'd get to the hospital, okay, I'm safe now. If I have a heart attack, there'll be people here that can help me. So then you would calm down and all the symptoms would just go away, which definitely, to me, it felt more it was more like a psychological thing. But curiously enough, I went to the doctor as well because the migraines haven't stopped. Those migraines
I was going to ask about
that.
Let me know what's going on there.
They haven't stopped. So pretty much every day I still get one. Sometimes it's mild. Other times it's a little bit tougher. But yeah, I'm also going to get some exams done because I haven't done exams in, I don't know, probably 3 or more years. So I figured it's a good time to do those. And the doctor also told me to get an endoscopy, which I hate.
What is that?
They put a tube down your throat, basically.
Oh, I did the up the butt one, but I've never done the throat one.
Yeah,
colonoscopy.
I've done.
That was interesting. I should do a video on that, really. Because
no, you really shouldn't.
It was an experience. It was like a game. It really
What is it?
was. It's but down the throat I've never done, and that doesn't sound very comfortable.
I can see so many out of context quotes.
I know, right? I've had it up the butt, but not down the throat. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that.
Like,
I don't know what they do, but at least
like,
for the rare one, they give you this like I call it the Men in Black medicine
oh
because it
my god,
literally erases your memory of it. Apparently, it doesn't knock you out. It just erases your memory of it. So like, I don't even remember the exam.
it doesn't knock you out because like the one that they gave me definitely whenever I go do any of those procedures, I just get knocked out. But yeah,
I don't know.
actually the first time that I went to do an endoscopy, the doctor was like, "Oh, I can just give you like some light sedation and you'll be fine." And then like I think it was about 20 minutes after me dry heaving the crap while he was stuffing the tube down, I was like, bleh, bleh. Like
God.
the whole dude, like I bursted so many blood vessels in my forehead, my eyes, like that. By the time the procedure was done, because like 20 minutes into it, he decided, you know what, maybe I should actually knock you out. Never mind. And then by the time I looked myself in the mirror, there was just like bursted blood vessels all over my forehead, my eyes. It was insane. So yeah, this time I'm like, look, dude, just knock me the hell out. Just make me not feel anything. But yeah. Welcome to the health report of the Third Fleet Podcast.
I know, right? That's the problem, right? When you're Fifth Fleet, you're young and you're healthy, but once you get down to third, then you start having issues.
But yeah, I don't know how things are going there. I have to basically wait for my blood work to see if there's something wrong with me with all these migraines and stomach problems and whatnot. But you know, the doctor gave me some medications and I have some pills to take for migraines and stuff like that. So yeah, that at least is something that I can take whenever I'm not feeling like dealing with having my head basically being squeezed like a lemon.
Oh gosh.
Other than that, the other struggles that I've been having is homeschooling, because trying to get a 5-year-old
to hear about.
Trying to get a 5-year-old to pay attention to a computer monitor where the teachers don't actually have any control over him because they're, you know, a monitor away. It's not like they can tell him, don't do this, and they can actually do something about it. They can't. So, you know, and my son is like so easily, a speck of dust will fly by and he'll be like, oh, so interesting. Way more interesting than whatever this lady's talking about over here. So that's been a huge struggle, which basically means that like more than half of my day, I'm just like sitting here trying to get him to pay attention. And that's pretty much it. But, you know, it's,
man, yikes.
You got to make sure that your kids get some education, because that's one of the biggest problems I think in the world right now is actually lack of education. There's too many people that are just dumb, which kind of sucks. It speaks volumes to the education systems of the world. But
well, it doesn't help that all around the world, teachers are one of the most underpaid jobs everywhere, which is so dumb. It's like you're paying people to raise the next generation of society and you can't even pay them properly. Like, really?
Yeah.
And it's universal. It seems every country that I hear about, it seems like in mass, maybe there's a few like outliners there, but in general, every country I look up, it seems to be bad. And man, if you're a teacher and you're listening to this podcast, I have nothing but respect. So
very much so. We shouldn't say if you're a good teacher. Like I had this teacher, and again, I'm going off on a tangent, but like I had this teacher that I'll never forget him, because you know how they have the set programs of stuff that they teach you, and that stuff just kind of ages. Yeah. So I was taking like the precursor to going into a career of IT. And so the stuff that they wanted this teacher to teach us was so outdated, it was basically worthless. And so the teacher just goes, and the very first day of class, he comes in there with a book and he says, this is what they want me to teach you. But all of this stuff that they want me to teach you is completely and utterly useless. This will do you no good, not in your professional life, not even to like develop your thinking process. This is just worthless. And so instead, I'm going to teach you guys basic HTML. And I know that a lot of people are like basic HTML, like that's useful, but the way in which he taught it was because this was a lot of time ago. Like nowadays, Googling stuff is something that everybody just does by instinct. Back then, it was not that common because this was a long time ago. So he taught us how to Google how to do HTML code.
Wow.
And that was like more important than learning the HTML because HTML is basic. You can just like type it in a notepad, save it as .htm, and it runs. It's basically code that instantly runs, which is great. So he taught us how to do all of these things and Google it and all of that stuff. And just, I learned so much in that class because this was a teacher that was just like passionate about what he was teaching and he didn't want it to teach us useless garbage. But
Yeah.
not all teachers are like that, unfortunately. But, you know. Anyway,
What
kind of
can you
figure
do?
that's enough sidetracking for now.
Oh yeah, but I've also been getting myself sleep deprivated as well
Oh
because
no.
the Monster Hunter World Iceborne journey with Yuna continues. And man, when we ride hard. You know what I mean?
So tell me about that because I know that you guys have been facing up against some of the Iceborne endgame now. What hunter rank are both? Well, not hunter rank, master rank.
Yeah.
Master rank are the both of you?
It's kind of crazy. 'Cause I think we started like literally just about a month ago to today. I got to figure out,
Yeah.
but we've already put in about 130 hours. We're both, or we're pretty much the same right now. So we're both at Hunter rank 90, Master rank 81 or 80 or so. I
Hmm.
want to say 80, Master rank 80.
So you're actually somewhat close to Ruin and Ergi.
It's going to be such a pushover by the time we get to it.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, so we've been going hard. We had the other day, we started to hit that point where we were like Master rank 60. It's kind of like, well, we got to wait until Master rank 70 until Silver, Gold, and Brute and all that cool stuff opens up.
Mhm.
So we did a room. We got in some 2 hunters from Twitter with some followers, which was really fun. And we did a lot of those 5 monster quests. We did a few of those. Got ourselves up to 70. Then me and her offline. We did Gold and Silver, which she really enjoyed. And it's so funny because she finally picked up a second weapon during that hunt.
Oh, okay. This is a big moment. This is a very big moment. Okay, I want.
It's not Gun Lance.
Okay, well that's it. I quit. No, let me think. Let me see if I can guess. So her main weapon is bow.
Her main weapon is bow, and she decided during Silver Rathalos, I kind of want to try a new weapon. I'm like, this is not the type of hunt that most people say, I think I'm going to go and experiment with a new weapon for the very first time. You want to go to the training room? No, let's just go, man. I'm good.
So she just picked up a weapon and went. Now you would be influencing her with Insect Glaive, but if she's the type of hunter I think she is, she wouldn't want to use the same weapon as her father, which
Correct.
means I think she went for dual blades.
Wow. She actually went for Hunting Horn.
Oh, I mean, I'd expect a hunting horn in Rise, but in World, that is surprising.
I know. So I was like, really? Are you sure? It plays quite differently.
And she didn't even go to the training room. She's like, yeah, I'm just gonna doot my way to victory, like completely out of nowhere.
I gave her a few verbal instructions, and she was off.
Oh my god. That is friggin' awesome. And it's like, did you have any problems? Was she able to just like pick it up and go?
She was able to pick it up and go. Boom.
Oh my God.
She's a natural tutor. So we had a really good time. Then after that, she said, okay, let me go to the training room and try out a few things. She tried out a few things. And the next one we did was like, okay, Skardian Garuga. I'm like, these are like the worst monsters to learn a new weapon on. She did really good on that hunt. She didn't card at all. I mean, she's aggressive. She's not a corner horner or anything like that. She was playing songs. Then when we did Safajiva, she was doing horn, I was doing glaive.
But you four-manned it, right? You didn't two-man it.
Two-man it.
You two-man Safi?
It took us a while. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It took us 6 runs, I think.
Oh my God. How do they consider that solo friendly? Like even
It's
two
not.
players
It's so
with
bad.
4 palicos,
The thing is,
6
the very
runs?
first time we got Safi to run, I think to the bottom room, and then it was like immediately over. But because it starts you out and you have to redrain the energy over and over again, it just means that every single hunt was padded with 8 minutes of like doing the same thing.
Yeah,
but we had a really good time. I'll be honest, and we were breaking all the parts, and we killed it, and that was exciting.
because it was her first time, so you're like trying to optimize your strategy to break the parts. Like the first times that I did Safi was also very fun, trying to basically min max the encounter and being like, okay, do we have a gunner in our group? Okay, gunner, you take
Yeah.
the wings. Do we have this weapon in our group? Okay, like for instance, we always had a friend that did charge blade, so he would always crack the back right on the second
Mm-hmm.
thing. So we'd have the whole strategy planned out. By the time we'd get to the third one, the second he would go super critical, I'd be busting up the chest. So we had the whole thing planned out, and it was friggin' fantastic. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because
It's
that's
just
what
what
ends up happening. Yeah, by the time we got to the sixth one, or maybe it was fifth or sixth, I can't remember. We had everything down,
yeah.
like the
You
whole system.
you're basically on autopilot, but like getting to that point feels great. Like planning out the strategy and then executing it. That
Oh yeah,
was a ton of fun. The problem is when you get to like the 50th run of Safi, then you're just like going through the motions.
yeah.
It's-
And we've done Safi like with four people or more
yeah,
than that. We did a room one night, so like we have the full set and everything. She just wanted to hunt it for some. She loves the monster.
yeah.
So taking it down as two of us was just such a satisfying experience. But I don't think we'll ever do that again.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm glad I did it. It reminds me of Extreme Auth. Extreme Auth is like, I'm glad I did it. Never doing it again. And it's like it was one of those
Never again.
situations where a lot of monsters I will do them to get people through them, but like Extreme Auth required so much coordination that I'm just like, this is very hard to do without having people in voice comms. So it's like
Yeah.
doing it with just straight up randoms. Regular
Oh.
Behemoth, sure. Extreme Auth, a little bit trickier.
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
we did a lot of gold and silver Rathian and Rathlos, which we really enjoyed. I just love the fact that it doesn't run away. It's like always in that arena in the
Yeah.
back of the Elder's Recess, which is great. Um, I really thought they were going to give her a hard time, and they didn't. I was surprised. And I mean, she's getting like KOs and stuff on these monsters, like 2 or 3 in a hunt. So it's like she's
For
quite the
someone
hunter now.
just picking up the horn, like I can't play the horn that good. Like I'll tell you right now, like
Yeah.
I know how to work the horn. I know how it works. I can't play it that well. It's like
And,
the
and
one
then
in
after
Rise,
all that,
sure,
I'm
but
like, after all that, I'm like, you are using the twirly move because I noticed that she wasn't. She's like, what move? I'm like, press LT, and she's like, ooh,
oh, the little rotation thing at the end of the
yeah.
combo, yeah.
Then she was having even more fun with it. She's like,
Yeah,
I like this weapon.
I specifically remember saying during Iceborne that was one of the most fun moves out of all of the weapons that got like the
Yeah.
twirly thing on the horn was just like one of the most fun things. And it got me to play the horn much more often because of it.
So then we decided. I said, okay, we made the gold Rathian chest in the waist for her, which is everyone knows that's like the entrance to the end game.
Yeah.
That's when you get Divine Blessing level 5, and once you go there, you can't go back. And then we got her defense up, so both of ours defense was increased by quite a bit. And so I said, you want to try Fatalis? Because she had seen it before. She's like, okay. So we went in there just joking around, just like, okay, let's see. She had never really seen all the moves, so she's like, well, let's just get a little taste. We'll fail it, so don't worry about it.
Was she playing the
And
bow or the horn?
horn.
Okay.
I think she's starting to fall out of love with the bow.
Well,
She's
yeah,
like,
the
she found
other
the horn.
weapons are just more fun. It is what like I'm sorry, bowmains. The other weapons are just more fun.
Well, the thing she likes is that even if you only have time to get in 1 or 2 attacks, you do quite a bit of damage, and she
Yep.
doesn't have to worry about her stamina, which has been really nice.
Oh yeah.
So we get in there.
After you play a significant chunk with a bow, you really appreciate the weapons that don't require stamina management for sure.
So keep in mind, we don't even have, and I'm gushing as like a proud father here. We don't even have augments for our, because we're not master rank hunter, so we can't augment more defense, or we can't put health boost or whatever you get on your weapons. We got nothing. We just have good old base weapons, right?
Yeah.
And we get in there, so we've got like 1,000 and maybe 50 defense at the most. And we get in there for her first Fatalis to show you how good she is at just getting around the monster and not dying. Granted, this was the assignment, so you have 5 carts.
Okay.
We got past the door, like past the second super breath attack. We got into its like final phase, which is like half its health. In the first attempt, just going in there to look at the monster,
Nice.
I was like, "Damn, girl, Like she understood the cones and she immediately clicked. And she's
Like,
like, "This is really fun."
there's a comment in our latest Third Fleet podcast where basically someone said, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on your name, but someone said that uh, a long time from now, Yuna will be the one hosting the Third Fleet podcast and inviting
Yeah, I
like
know,
old
right?
time hunters to come and talk about Monster Hunter.
A new fifth fleeter comes in. So yeah, we ended up doing a few runs. I said, you know what, this is going to be a lot more fun with more people, because I definitely think that the end fights, while totally doable solo and dual, I think they're a lot more fun when you have more people, especially because everyone's using their dusts of life and all that kind of stuff. So I was like,
Yeah,
we've done good enough. We broke the second horn on our third attempt. So I was like, we're doing good enough. I think we could just, because we didn't have that much time. I'm like, I don't want to spend all day for us to perfect this and get it done. I was like, let's get some help in here and let's have some fun and beat this. I think we've proven to ourselves we get the monster. We just need a little bit
yeah.
of the push. So I recruited two hunters on Twitter again. I'm telling you, I've got some really really good Xbox Hunter followers. Like they are amazing.
Yeah,
And then
it's
they came in and we wiped out. It took us, gosh, I think 4 or 5, because there was always some like major stupid mistake at the very beginning. It was so funny. Like I missleeped it, or we missed the cannons, or for some reason we were just like waking up and a few of us died just immediately. We're like, whoops. But we got the heebie-jeebies out of the system,
yeah.
and then we did it, and we beat it, and it was a hell of a rush. Yuna was screaming, excited in the other room, and she's like, "God, that monster's an S tier." Because we recently did our tier video, and she put him and Alatreon in F
Oh my
because
god.
she never really faced it before. So all she saw was one attempt very early in the game where it just one shot killed us immediately. She didn't remember anything about the monster. She's like, nothing should be that powerful. That's crazy. So she just put it in F without really knowing.
Yeah.
But we did the hunt, and she's like, that was a rush. She's like, that was great.
I think
So we
I
had a
think
really good
that's
time.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of the people that have problems with both like Alatreon and Fatalis, it's like I feel like they got demotivated maybe a little bit too soon, and then they were like, no, I don't like it. And I don't know, because or maybe it's just not for everyone those fights, but
It's just
to
probably just not
me
for everybody. Yeah.
it might just not be for everybody. Yeah, it might not be everybody's taste, but like to me, I love those fights, Alatreon and Fatalis,
So good.
because they push you past that point where it's like I don't even know if I can do it, and that makes it even more
Yeah.
exhilarating, right? Like I know
So
that's how
I
I
told her,
felt.
I was like, you just beat your first Fatalis. What are you going to do next? And she's like, I'm going to make the armor, because she had been holding off to make the armor because she knows that you can make it without killing it. She's like, no, no, no. She's like, you got to
Well,
kill it. You can't make it for.
well, her father is the Fatalis thief, so
I know, right? I told her when I did. She's like, I ain't doing that. So she's going to make she has all the pieces that she needs. She just needs a few rare materials, which we'll get from Celestial Prince. We'll run
yeah,
her Steamworks and we'll get her prints. But we had a really good time, and that clicked right away. And then
that is. Go ahead.
yesterday I said, hey, I think you're ready for Alatreon. I think we just need to build a set for it. I was like, why don't we build a set? And she's like, hmm. She's like, okay. I was like, well, we need a nice weapon. So I explained the mechanics to her so she understood what the fight was before she got into it. And then so we made the Frost Fang Barioth hunting horn for
Oh
her,
yeah.
because those are good weapons. I mean, you
They're
can make
very
them
good
because
weapons.
she's been getting really burnt out. Actually, this is a good side topic actually before we go back to Alatreon. Remember we were talking in the last or the previous podcast about that interview with IGN where they said that they would be um the writer decided to add in a lot more context that wasn't there in the direct quote in Japanese, but he went on Twitter afterwards and said, no, trust me, he said this during our discussion, just wasn't in that direct quote, so I just added it, which I don't agree with. You don't do that with translation, but um, I told her, I was like, well, Ichinose is saying, or at least I've heard that he said, that they'll be reducing the amount of materials that you need to craft stuff, and that will encourage people to craft more stuff. And I'll tell you, It's so true because she wants to start a new weapon, and the amount of materials and everything that she needs for everything is so much. She's just like, forget it, and she just starts getting
Oh,
really tired because like she wants to make all the Xeno'jiva weapons, even though they look horrible, and she was really upset about that. But she loves the monster.
so she
And
wants to
every
collect them.
single weapon is like 15, well, I'm exaggerating. It's like 7 or 8 upgrades. They all take like 10 of this
And
ore,
it's
10 of that ore,
always
5 of this, 5 of that.
I seem to remember that with Zeno, I think the biggest thing was it was either it wasn't the claws, no, it was something on his head, his horns. It wasn't the wings, but I think it might be horns or something like that.
The
Because I
horns,
do
yeah.
remember constantly needing one specific piece of Zeno, and I would always need to go. Okay, guys, let's go just get a couple of stuff from Zeno.
Yeah.
But yeah, you
So
would just farm
she's
it
been
with 4
feeling
players.
discouraged, yeah. So I'm like, you know what? It's making stuff, at least in World Iceborne, is pretty brutal. You talked about how you have a disdain for how they kept telling everybody to go to Tobi Kadachi.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like that's my biggest complaint. Is like if I could have more variety as opposed to, it just feels like there's certain monsters that you're constantly killing. People called to my attention that Juratotus was kind of the same thing. There was a lot of weapons like go kill Juratotus. And I remember a lot of times, okay, I gotta go kill 5 low ranked Juratotus. It's not even because it's hard. It's just like it's the low rank Juratotus. It takes me more time to run from camp to get there than to actually kill it.
yeah.
Like
It's just annoying. So, I can see why this could be a really good thing firsthand, seeing her wanting to make new weapons and then getting discouraged. Just because it's not even like, why would they even make you go for like, 20, 30 Macalite ores or whatever? Like, she's just tired. And I really like the idea of going around and mining all those spots. She hates it.
oh,
The
I
one thing
love
about
mining
Monster
as
Hunter she
well.
does not like is mining. I like it. It's therapeutic for me.
Yeah,
You
mining
know,
feels good. Like
bink,
even how
bink, bink, bink.
they say it in the game. Even like nothing better to relax between quests than just go and gather some stuff. That's the reason why I even wanted them to bring back the farm. I want to actually go onto the farm and plant the herbs and plant the
Yeah.
mushrooms and stuff like that. That was fun.
She absolutely hates mining stuff. So I've been trying to help her, but then I realized, well, Frost Fang weapons you can make straight up from the get go, which is
Yeah.
awesome. You just need 3 of those tickets from the tempered version of it. There's an event
Mhm.
quest. So we did that, and that's a fun quest because he doesn't have a whole lot of health. That's kind of like the hey, if you need help on Alatreon, here you go, guys. Because it's a very decent weapon. It's got decent raw. It's got great element. No slots, which kind of sucks. But you can make it flat out. And she got 3 tickets in her first run. So like we knew the stars
Ooh.
were looking down on us. We're like, okay. So we made her a hunting horn, and I said, okay, well, let's go in like Fatalis. It's like I think she's gonna die right away. I'm getting all like cocky thinking back to my experience because that's what happened to me. I got wasted the first time I faced
By
Alatreon.
Frostfang? Oh, Alatreon. Okay.
Like I don't even know if I survived even a few minutes. I don't even think I saw Dragon Phase until like my 5th attempt.
Oh.
I don't know what was wrong with me, but we get in there. I was like, so let's try out Alatreon. The first thing she says is, "This is Alatreon." So I already figured out that however she rated it before in her tier list, she had a completely different monster in her head when she was thinking about the monster.
Hmm.
So to her, she was like, "Oh, this scene looks cool," and she loves the intro, where it's like really like photogenic and it turns to the camera and then Alatreon, then text comes on the
Yeah.
screen. It's really cinematic. So we get in there and we get to the first judgment, and she still hadn't carded. I'm like,
Nice.
damn. I mean, I know she wasn't being hyper aggressive, which we needed to be, but I'm like, still to be able to dance around a monster and not die, that's
It
impressive.
it
I was like,
took me
I think we
like
got this.
It took me like 13 hours to properly get Alatreon's moveset down to a comfortable spot. But that's when I'm just like straight up even invincibility framing into stuff and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like that's what I'm talking about, those 13 hours. But yeah.
Yeah, so we got to the judgment. We died. She laughed. She thought it was hilarious. We get in there for round 2. We get the first elemental flinch. We break the first horn. We get past then the first judgment. It took us a while of failures because she didn't. I didn't teach her well enough when you're supposed to eat the astro jerky. So there was like
Oh
a lot
yeah,
of
that
timing
is
mishaps.
tricky. I mean that's gonna be
Um,
tricky for anyone that's not used to a stare. I mean, it was tricky for me even to like figure out. Well, I still died on a couple of the attempts because I was like, oh, I ate that. Let's do it. That.
Nah. It's so funny. And then
Yeah.
third attempt, we got to phase 3, I call it, but we got through 2 judgments and we broke both
Both
horns.
horns.
And then I think we were getting tired because at that point it's about 15 minutes or so, right? And I think then we had some really dumb carts on both of our
Yeah.
ends. And then I said, you know what? Jeez, they're shaking this house. I was like, look, if we can break both horns and we can get past the judgment twice, I said, we've got the fight down. I think we could just, like before, I was like, if we practice, we can get this within an hour or two, but we didn't have that much time. So I was like, let's call in 2 people and let's do this as a team because it's fun that way.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. So I called 2 people in last night and boom, we got it. 13 minutes. It was down. She was thrilled. She's like, that was a fun hunt. So she
That
really,
is
really liked it.
that is awesome to see, just like the evolution, particularly when she thought that she didn't initially like Fatalis, and then she does the fight, and it's like, oh, this is actually really fun. This is a fantastic monster, and there's so much artistry to Fatalis. I even made like a whole video just talking about the artistry of the Fatalis fight because there's even the thing where he's got that special grab where he grabs you and tries to assimilate you onto his chest.
I've
Like,
never seen that.
oh my God, that is so cool. You should just let yourself get hit by it. He does this grab. It's kind of weird. He doesn't do it very often, but you actually see the hunter like getting glued onto his flaming chest. Yeah,
Oh
it's
wow.
like you actually get stuck in there, and it's like this is basically a kill. Like if you don't have someone healing you, you're dead. But
Oh,
then
that's cool.
then he sees that you're not ready. And I don't remember if he bites you off or whatever. Basically, he takes you off because like this one's still moving, so he throws you off. But it's that
Oh
whole
my
thing
gosh, I'm
about
gonna
him
have to
like
find that.
melting the hunters. Yeah, you can look that stuff up. I'm pretty sure that I show it in my artistry video or whatever. But like, I feel that there's such an artistry to the fight itself, the cinematic, all of that stuff. There's so many good moments there. And that's why it always frustrates me when people just kind of like write it off as artificial difficulty and whatnot. And I'm just like, it's
Yeah.
not. It's really not. You just gotta push a little bit harder, and you'll get it. And yeah, and
So I told her, I was like, you took down the black dragons. You are bona fide hunter. Like
yeah,
you've got it, girl. Like you're ready. Like
you're
Rise
pretty
is gonna
much good to go.
and I warned her, I was like, you do know that Rise is an entry for the game. It's not like what you're enjoying here, the spectacle, that's Iceborne. I was like, they had an entire game and engine and stuff to work on. Like that when the G rank or the master rank comes, that's when they go a little crazy. I was like, don't expect things quite like that for the base game for
Yeah.
Rise.
I hope she doesn't get disappointed at the start of Rise, because it's going to be
Well, now,
it's going to be much more
so I,
tame than those experiences.
yeah, so I told her, I was like, is there anything else you want to do in this game? I was, I don't want to burn out before Rise comes. She's like, I
Yeah.
ain't burning out. She's like, I love this game. She's really
Okay.
enjoying it. So I was like, okay, then we can do this. And I was like, well, what do you want to do next? It's like, we can grind to master rank 100 so you can fight Ruiner. And then she's like, she's like, is there a master rank Velkana? I'm like, yes, there's an arch-tempered Velkana.
Arch-tempered Velkana.
Arch-tempered Velkana. She's like, what do you have to be? Master rank 100? Okay, we should do that.
Is it
I was
Master
like,
Rank
I've heard it's very
100 for
hard.
Velkana? Isn't it 24?
Yeah. No, it's 100.
Oh, I thought that everything was like 24, considering Fatalis was 24, but yeah.
No, just the intro. She was really upset by that. She's like, why is it 24? She's like, that's so dumb.
Did
She
you
didn't
tell her
like the
there's
idea
also an
either.
arch-tempered Namiel?
She's seen that, yeah. She wants to do that as well.
Oh, yeah, dude. She's going to get that
So it
vibe
sounds
check.
like we're gonna-
Boom.
Sounds like we're gonna do the grind, which is fun. But
That-
she's not gonna get into augmenting and stuff because she finds it a pain. So I might have to help her out a little bit with some of the tedious stuff. But you know
Yeah,
what? At this
like-
point, she hasn't had augments, so you know what? I think we're fine without it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've done Fatalis, like if you continue the thing where you guys do a little bit in a two-man, and then you just bring 2 people in to finish the job when you see that you can get it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good approach, because that also prevents you from burning out. Because at this stage in the game,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily want to force yourself. No. We gotta like get our heads down. You want to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that
yeah.
when the game is at that point. Like when you're just like biding your time to get to Rise. I think that's a healthy approach that you're doing there.
Yeah, there's a mentality I've seen on Twitter which I don't agree with, which is, and this was back when I was doing my first Alatreon because I had a hard time soloing it, And so I played together with one other hunter, and he's awesome. And we beat Alatreon, and I heard people going, "Well, yeah, but you didn't do it solo," or "Yeah, but you had to bring in another hunter." I'm like, "This is Monster Hunter, man! Like
It's
like they built like in the past, these things have always been for people. Like you always did it as for people. Like doing it solo was never the norm,
it
ever."
almost makes me wonder if I may be a part of the problem because I like doing it like that, right? Like I like doing the stuff solo, things that are scaled for solo. Like I don't want to go and
Yeah.
face off against freaking extreme auth and whatnot by myself. But it's like I like doing monsters that are scaled for solo. I like doing them solo first. So I think that I might be putting a almost like a role model type of thing where people are like, no, this is how you're supposed to do it. And it's like, just because I like doing something one way doesn't mean that everybody has to do it the same way that I do it. Like Monster Hunter is a game
No, I
that
I wouldn't say you're a bad influence at all. I mean, I just think people have this weird note. I don't know where they're getting the notion from, but there's nothing wrong with taking down a hunt with 4 people.
yeah,
Like that's what the game's designed to be.
yeah. It's like that's kind of like the almost the baseline difficulty, and then if you want to get it a little bit more challenging, you can go in with 2 people, you can go in by yourself.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. You can kind of like tune the things to do the thing that you want to do. And like my first Alatreon kill wasn't a solo kill. First time I killed
Mm.
Alatreon, it was with 3 other hunters because we were all trying to figure it out. Now, first I tried solo for a bunch of hours and I wasn't able to do it. And then eventually I started getting into groups and I was like, okay, guys, now I just want to see if I can go and kill. And the first time I killed was like that. And then I went back and I'm like, okay, now I want to like do the thing and do it solo. And I kept going at it until
Yeah.
I got it down. But that doesn't mean that everybody should do it like that. Like every win is a win. And even for the people, because like I brought some people with me along the way. Like later, like I said, I did the runs to help people out to get their hunts. They still were there. They were still doing the hunt. You know,
Yeah.
they're still contributing. Everybody counts. So I
Yeah,
don't.
there's a difference between getting carried and hunting with other people, and I think that's what some people need to understand. And even getting carried to an extent, if it's a wall that you really can't get over at that point of time, I often find that people who do get carried through a hunt, so to say, where they have some overpowered hunters come in to help them out, they generally come back and they do the hunts and they figure it out and they can do it. So it's
Yeah.
not, if that's what you need psychologically to keep having fun, I think that's a fine thing to do.
And
I don't like that mentality.
eventually they themselves will potentially go and help other hunters do the thing
Oh
as
yeah.
well, which is kind of like that's always the mentality that I personally try to promote. It's like, look, I even have like I don't even know how many looking for group channels, but I have at least one looking for group channel for every platform in my Discord so that people can go and like try to see if they can find other people to play with, because there's always people that want to play the game, and it's just
Yeah.
they might have already achieved all of their objectives, so they're just sitting there like, oh, I'm just waiting for Rise.
So it's
But
interesting. So I asked her afterwards, I said, who did you like more, Alatreon or Fatalis? Because she puts them both in S tier now. So who do you like more? Like for fight wise? And she said Alatreon, which
oh,
I thought was interesting. So I was
that
like,
is very
how
interesting.
come? She said Fatalis she really likes, and it's and I think I discussed this before, and it's the same with me. Like I love the spectacle fights, like when things are just like a spectacle, it's just so
Yeah,
fun, and that's what these two offer, but on a smaller scale than like Safi or Zora or even Xenojiva. So like the spectacle she loves, and she liked the hunt a lot, but she's like knowing that it can easily one shot you is still kind of, she's like that's the fun part of the hunt, right? Knowing that one slip up and he got you, like that's the pressure, and there's the sensitivity around trying to break the head so that it doesn't get harder in the final phase. But she's like, Alatron, you can generally eat one hit before you probably get two hitted, like a two shot.
yeah,
So she liked the pacing of that better. Also for the fact that Elatreon's hits have a much tighter window and they're smaller and more narrow. She found it much easier to freely move around him
yeah. Like
compared to Fatalis.
that was the thing after my 13-hour stint that I noticed. Like if you look at that video where I'm doing that, there's just so many iframe dodges and stuff like that because they are very tight and you can usually dodge everything just right. Even if you're not at the level of like Team Darkseid where they can do all of that stuff
Yeah.
regardless of what monster they're fighting against, right? But for more average hunters like myself, it takes a while for you to get to that point where it's like, oh, I framed this, I framed that, and
Yeah.
Alatreon is very tight in that regard. Sure.
That, and I think one of the things that both of us enjoy is there's so many, I don't know if you want to call it a dopamine drip moment, but there's so many moments of excitement during that hunt because every time you get an elemental flinch, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
Every
get
time you
him.
break the horn, it's like, yeah. And the stress goes way down. And you're like, what do we do for the rest of this phase? Just, I was like, get in damage.
Yeah,
Like,
just deal
at
damage.
this point, you know that you've passed the quiz and you're past the judgment. And you're like, okay, at this point, pressure's off. We can just smack it around. This feels good. And then it goes and it does the eschaton. And that's like, okay, round two.
Yep.
And it's got a rhythm to it.
I
And it's
one of my favorite flinches that I did was actually in that video as well in my first kill, where you know how the worm stake that not the worm stake blast thing that stays attached, but the one that just does a little damage and explodes. The explosion does a little bit of fire damage.
oh,
And that little bit of fire damage triggered an elemental flinch. I even had a couple of comments like, "What? That thing deals elemental damage?" Yeah, yeah, it does a little bit of fire. And so that triggers an elemental flinch. And I'm like, yes, let's go. It feels so friggin' good. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Those
so
good
that's
times.
our Iceborne journey, so to say. So we've had a lot of fun. She's fallen in love with them, and she's been watching lots of videos now that she understands the fights. And there's lots of
Yeah.
really fun YouTube videos about Fatalis and Alatreon on YouTube where people have made some really funny edits about, like compilations of dying and winning and stuff. So she's enjoying now that she gets the context. But yeah, it's just great because it's the perfect time for us. It's Rise isn't out yet. School's kind of boring for her because she's editing the end. She's coming up to the end of the year, which is next month. How does it work in Portugal? Like, when does school year end?
Our school years end usually around June. So, and then you have 3 months of vacation, and then you come back at around September.
Oh, I wish Japan did that. It's just like America. Yeah, the Japan doesn't. So like, she ends school at the end of March, and then mid-April she's back to school. New Year. There's like no break.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's bad for teachers.
I think the problem with our system is that the break is potentially too big. So I mean, 3 whole months without any schooling. Like, when I was young, I'm like, this is great. As a matter of fact, I wish it was 4 months. It should be like 6 months of school and 6 months of vacation, like half the year. But no, it's like I think actually in terms of education, I don't think it's very effective because it's too long for you. The discipline is gone. So like your first month of school is just wasted. Just like you're still thinking about the vacation.
It's good timing for us to geek out, and we went to we try not to go outside, but we went over to Akihabara to look for more Monster Hunter plushies. 'Cause she's been getting into her plushies, and I spent a lot of money. We found Silver Rathalos, Golden Rathian, Namiel, and Velkhana plushes yesterday.
I'm so
So we
jealous.
bought them all.
Because I still need to find a place where I can get the Palamute plushie because I know that my son loved it when he watched that, and I want to get him something from Monster Hunter, and that would be perfect
Nice.
because he likes dogs. But yeah,
So that's our Iceborne journey. Now she's double thinking whether she wants to play bow as her main weapon through the story. And
Especially
this is
with
going to be this is an interesting comment. So I said, how do you feel about the hunting horn now that it's been redesigned in Rise? 'Cause I know she really enjoyed it in the demo.
Yeah.
She says, I think I'd prefer the old way.
Interesting.
She says that she would prefer it more like Iceborne. I think it's because she likes the personality of the horns and she likes the play and encore, and she misses that. She says, like, I want that back. She's like, the way they have it in Rise is really fun, but I kind of like this idea of you sitting there playing it. It's kind of cool.
I've seen a lot of comments about that stuff, and me as someone that doesn't actually main the horn, it's very easy for me to sit there and go, well, yeah, I like the new one. The new one's a lot of fun. I went in there and I beat the crap out of Mizu first time I picked it up. Wasn't even a problem.
They're
But I
very
can
different.
understand
Yeah, they feel like different weapons.
for people that have played the horn for a good long while, that particular style might not be their thing because they like the more technical aspects of the weapon. But we'll see what
Yeah, it's
the full
interesting.
game
So,
brings for those people. Because like we've been
yeah,
discussing that we feel like the move sets are not as set in stone as the stuff that we see in the demo. So there's more stuff to be discovered. But yeah,
yeah. But there's some really good quality of life in Iceborne that I have to give it credit for. Like being able to see your songs on the screen and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
I was like, imagine trying to pick that weapon up before Iceborne or World. It's
I
tough.
can't I can't even imagine it. Like even in Iceborne, like I said, I struggle because I still don't know how to play the weapon. Because what I end up doing is I just play the notes for 3 songs and then I equip Rocksteady Mantle and then I perform an encore. It's like, well, I can't be stopped unless I die. Because it's so
Yeah,
frustrating to get interrupted doing that. But like, that's not the proper way to play that weapon, and I'm well aware of it.
yeah. Well, our Iceborne journey has been much deeper and much longer and more intense than I ever thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Like
And I
looking back on it, I don't think you would have thought about Fatalis or Alatreon, and now Arch-Tempered Velkhana, which is going to present
it's
its
on the
own
menu.
challenges.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you hunt AT Velkhana before? You
I
didn't even
haven't.
hunt it
No,
at
so
all.
it'll be first for us. Yeah,
Oh, that's going to be very interesting. You did 18 Amiel or also no?
I did 18 Namiya. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But that I feel like Velkhana is going to be a very special bonding moment for the two of you because you're both doing it for the first time.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be
Well, that's
really,
again
really
that
cool.
goes into why we're going to be doing Rise together.
You have to
So
you have to record it.
so everyone's like, see, oh, you got to record a hunt and upload. I'm like, we're not in the same. Like I'm here on my computer. She's right next to me in the living room playing on the
Oh,
big
okay.
TV. It's not like we're streamers. Like we have a setup where we're playing it like on a green screen or something. So it's like you wouldn't even get us, which means that you're only going to get my perspective, not hers, because it's not like we have an Elgato going into the TV.
But
Um,
I still
it's
think it
not
would be I think that particular hunt I think it would be interesting, but I can understand the point that you're making, which is like, well, we're just trying to enjoy the game. We don't want the pressure of like a recording. Like, I completely
the
understand.
production of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like, a while ago, a long while ago, this was when I went to Norway vacation with my parents. Which Norway is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my whole life, and so you have that thing where you're always taking pictures of everything, right? And so I
Yeah.
realized this was the trip where I realized that like I'm so concerned about taking all these pictures, I'm not even enjoying the scenery. And so after that, I pretty much almost never took pictures of anything. I just enjoy the moment and whatever.
Yeah. It reminds me of like going to school things where all the parents have their video cameras and they're looking at the performance of their children through a
Through
video
the
camcorder,
viewfinder. Yeah.
and I'm the only parent sitting there smiling and watching
Yeah.
and just
It's
enjoying it.
it is
It's like
we have gotten as a society to that point where it's like everything is take pictures, share here, share there, do this, do that. It's like even I find it interesting that even my mother these past couple of years she started like posting stuff on Facebook. So the other day I go up to grab a bite with my parents and she's got this sweet rice thing that she's did, which is like a
mm.
traditional dessert in Portugal. And I'm looking at it, it's like all fancy with little bits of lemon peels and cinnamon. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then after a while, I get a notification on my phone of a Facebook photo that my mom posted. And I'm like,
That's
God damn it. But hey, if she's enjoying it, okay, go ahead, mom, do your thing.
Exactly,
Just like
yeah.
post it on social media. Go crazy. Facebook is stealing all of our data, but I don't think they're gonna do anything about it at this point.
Some fancy rice dish, yeah.
But it's yeah, it is one of those things that now it's like the reason I was saying that you should record is because I'd be curious to watch the two of you facing it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's my curiosity, but I think the thing that most people will not understand is the aspect of just wanting to enjoy it. Because a lot of people think that, for instance, live streaming something, it's almost like, well,
Yeah.
if you're playing the game, you might as well live
You may
stream
just hit
it,
record, right?
It's not.
Totally different.
It's a very different thing. Like, even though I myself sometimes said, well, I was playing this, so I figured I'd stream it. But the mentality that I go into something like that, where I'm like, oh, I think I'll stream this thing, is a very different mentality than me. Like, I think I'm going to play this and just enjoy it. It's very, very,
Yeah.
very different. And, you know, I just think that there's a lot of people who don't have that context of it. But I can totally get it. I get it. Like, it's just my curiosity demanded, like, tell them to record it. You want to see it. You know? It's like, but yeah, I get it. Like, living in a moment, enjoying the moment. And like I said, it is going to be special when you two fight that thing for the first time. Also because it's going to be hard as hell, I'll tell you right now.
Mm.
That
That's what
fight
I've
is
heard. So
freaking
it's like,
crazy.
but yeah, I've been having that was a long side story, but yeah, the Iceborne journey has been fantastic. So I could not be any more happy.
But it's really nice to hear you know, the experience of a fresh new player coming into Iceborne, the struggles that you guys faced with, you know, the way that the vents were set up, the way that
Yeah.
the scaling is like all wonky, where you fight Fatalis before you fight Ruiner Gigante. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like,
Yeah.
you qualify to fight Fatalis, but Ruiner Gigante, well, you know, don't get
The
crazy
layered armor
now,
is much
Junior.
better. The layered armor is much better now that you taught me 2 podcasts ago about it only being one
Yeah.
price and you get the full set. So she's been enjoying that quite a bit. But there's a lot of the good armor, they require you to be master rank 100 or above to make, which is stupid.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, they
That
want the
does
great
suck.
spirit vein gems and stuff. I'm like, that's so dumb. Come on.
It's
So
because
she can't make a lot of them.
it's because it's one of the rarest materials, and you know, it's like. But here's the thing: you guys at least benefit from like the improved drop rates. Whereas when we started, the drop rates were so random that I went
good gosh.
through. I think sometimes I would go 20 hours into Guiding Lands without a single one dropping. Like 20 hours of just killing elders and not getting a single
Wow.
Great Spirit Vein gem drop. It was completely insane. And then I had a friend of mine who's like the luckiest bastard in the world when it comes to that stuff. My friend
I got
Kegrin.
20.
Dude, yeah, you would. And the worst part is that like you would be on stream with me, and he would tell me every time he would
Every
get
time
one,
he got one.
and I was like,
another vein.
I hate you.
Huh? That is so funny.
But yeah,
But what was the other
stuff
thing?
would
So yeah,
happen a
and then
lot.
she really wants to make the layered armor for the festivals.
yeah, the festival
and
armor is really good.
They made it so that you can convert tickets to another type, but the rate that they did it, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
So in order to convert one VIP ticket to another one, it takes 3 tickets in order to convert to one. So she wants to make the Halloween set. So do I, which means that we need to get 18 VIP tickets.
Good God. Do you
Not
know
18,
when the event?
15.
Do you know when the event is coming around next time?
Well, that's the thing I don't like. So they do an event for 2 weeks, and then there's 2 weeks of
Yeah.
nothing. Then there's another 2 weeks event. So I told her, I was like, we have 24 hours. I think we only have like 48 hours left until the end of this event. Not even like 30
And
something.
then you
hours.
have 2 weeks of nothing, which
Yeah.
kinda
So today or
sucks.
tomorrow, I was like, we can sit there. We made the astral set, like, or the whatever. So like we can grind the snow delivery thing. It only takes 20 seconds. And
Yeah, that's
you could do it
that's
over
a
and over. But that's
recipe
like,
for burnout. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We can grind that for 5 hours and then finally get 15 tickets. I don't know, man. So
This is one of the reasons why whenever those events came around, I would do it the day of or the very next day. I'm like, I gotta get everything, just get everything make sure that I have it and I never have to worry
Yeah.
about it again.
But I mean, you can't convert anything else. I wish they would have just added it where like you could convert even the Celestial Prince or something else to get those VIP tickets.
I was just
Even
thinking,
if it was just
imagine.
even like 5 to 1, just let me use the regular tickets as well. You can't. It's 3 VIP for 1 VIP. That's it.
I was just thinking, imagine if they let you. Oh yeah, we'll let you trade it for something else. Great Spirit Vein gems.
Exactly. Exactly, right? So, I don't know. We've only got what like 32, 31 days until Rise, so
Yeah,
we're
it's gonna
almost
be
at the
rough to
glorious
craft
1
this.
month away mark. So,
It's I don't to be honest, if you guys unless you're having a lot of fun, I don't think it's worth it to chase after those. I'd almost think
yeah.
it's more worth it to just wait until the event comes around and do it then, because then at least it'll be faster. You don't have to grind 3 times the materials to get that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So, I don't know what we'll do, but I think we're going to start slow going a little bit slower.
Yeah,
And then I think we'll ease ourselves off of it before we get into Rise.
play some Toho and then go into Rise fresh. Like right now,
Yeah.
the only thing that I'm playing because like I kind of want to play the demo some more, but at the same time, it's like no, I gotta stay away from it. I gotta not burn out. So the only thing I'm playing is I don't have a lot of time to play to begin with, but it's Final Fantasy 14. That's pretty much it. That's
Yeah.
all I've been playing. I've been grinding stuff there. I'm doing my relic weapon quest line, which requires tremendous amounts of time investment. But I got some friends to start playing the game, so I've also started
Nice.
leveling alt classes and whatnot. It's been pretty fun. But it's fantastic to hear the journey that you two have been through. It's been really really fun to listen to. At least I think it's fun to listen to. I hope that the audience is enjoying
Yeah.
it as well. Because also
It's a
guys,
dream
this
come true for me. I mean, I love the game, and I'm being able to
yeah.
share this now with my daughter is just insane.
Yeah. And there's also the fact that there's not been a whole lot of news this week, you guys. So, we basically just get together every Tuesday night and we talk about stuff. And I just told Gaijin earlier, like, I want to talk with you every Tuesday until the day I die, like a marriage, pretty much. So,
Yeah, I cherish these moments. It's fun to talk, and I really like it. So this is one
um,
of those few cases where we can just press the record button, and boom, we get
yeah,
a podcast out of it. As I
it's
think the way we talk normally is very much like this. There's no difference.
yeah, pretty much. It's because like
Just a
I don't
conversation.
even have like this thing that we just spent almost an hour talking about. I just had one topic. It said Yuna's journey. That's it.
Let's mention that.
Let's talk about Yuna's journey. Oh, 1 hour passed by. That's nice. But
Yeah,
I do have a couple of other topics that I want to bring up. So the first one was
do
I
it.
was not aware of this, but tell me about this Kieran Ryder thing because I was just told that it's actually free now and you can download it in the West.
Yes. So the Kieran Rider was a giveaway they had in Japan for I'd say a few months, where you had to do a special event quest in that game that I hate so much, the Monster Hunter Riders. It's like a smartphone
Yeah.
game, and I really don't like it. I did a video on it. If you did an event, you would get a code that would allow you to download from the Japanese PlayStation Store the code for this little charm. And it's just like this weird. It's just like a hunter riding a Kirin. It's really cute, actually. It's like a little balloon that flies around. So I think that they realize that they're past the period of exclusivity, so to say. So they've went ahead and just give it away to everybody. So it should be in your inbox if you just boot up the game. You should have it.
No, I think you have to like go to at least on PlayStation. I think you have to go to the store
Oh,
and
you got to buy it. Yeah, and it's
purchase
free, and you
it.
just click it.
You just buy
Exactly.
it
Yeah.
for free and then you get it. So, guys, if you're interested in having a little cute Kieran
Hunter
dressed,
riding a Karen.
yeah, Kieran Hunter riding a Kieran, you can do that, and it floats like a balloon, right? It's not like one of those
Yeah.
pendants that hangs. It floats kind of
Oh, it's
like the
really cute. Yeah,
Paolo
it
thing.
floats like a balloon on a string. It's
And,
it's
and
hilarious.
I haven't seen videos of it, but in the image it looked like it also sparkles a little bit, like
Yeah,
blue from the Karen. Okay, yeah,
it's nice. I don't like Monster Hunter Riders, but I really liked that charm. I don't play on PlayStation, so I actually did that quest on the mobile game just so I can give it as a present to a Japanese artist, Monster Hunter artist who I really enjoy, and I gave the artist the code so that they can use it.
that's cool. But
It was a good one way to give back.
In regards to the Monster Hunter Riders, like I don't like the idea of because you've talked about it and I watched your video back then. I don't even remember a whole lot about Riders, but I do remember what the problems there were problems with the game, and I don't like all of those problems with it, and I also don't like the fact that it's only on mobile. I would love to have something similar to that on Switch, but I love that art style still. That art style is so
Well,
good.
yeah, well, the character design is fantastic on that
Yeah,
game, and it very much mimics stories in a way. So,
exactly.
like it's a shame to see those art assets put in a game that I personally really, really, really don't like. But I'm totally with you. I love the design work. Gets me even more hyped for stories too, actually. Even though it's not the same
Exactly.
people making it.
And
It's a good
but yeah,
style.
that's the Kieran Riders now for you guys should check it out on the stores and download it. We had the confirmation of where that mecha looking armor is from in Monster Hunter Rise.
Yes.
It's actually from Almudron, and I think it was Kogath who did a translation on this and said that there's some kind of a technique that they do to smooth out the parts of the monster, make it all shiny and stuff.
Yeah, they're talking about in the Japanese one. I didn't do a translation myself, but on their tweets they always go in more detail, and they said that it's a technique that the crafters did where the hard mud that you get from that monster, it's like the act of like refining and polishing it, and then it becomes a very special, almost metallic like material. So that explains how it goes from mud into like cyber kitty. Like that kind of explains it, sort of. But I still think it's kind of out there. Like
It,
I think but that's good. I like out there outfits. The cat one though, did you see that thing?
the Palico outfit from Almudron,
Uh
yeah,
huh.
dude, that thing
Oh
looks
my
friggin'
god.
amazing. But the here's the interesting thing, right? It's really cool for you to see that they thought about it. Like they thought that players would look at that and be that doesn't make any sense, and they're like, no, 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 no. Listen, you polish this thing really hard, and then it gets all shiny and metal like because that's it's just
There's
interesting to see
reasoning
that they
behind it.
thought about it. They have this thought process, and they think about this for pretty much everything in the game. The combinations of monsters of creatures that eventually form a monster and how that monster works. Like even when I finally found out that Ludroth's yellow thing is actually a foam that soaks up water and that's what allows him to walk on land, I was like, I never thought that thing was a foam. I don't know, just some yellow stuff on his head. Like I don't know what to expect. That was crazy. But yeah, that was cool. The design and all of that. And I guess the people that were saying that it was Almudron, you guys were 100% correct. I thought it was something different. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be an
I didn't know
insect of
either.
some
'Cause the
kind.
the cat ears threw me off. The fact that you got the insect in the cat, but you know what? I love it.
Yeah, it
That's
is
the
pretty
monster
cool.
I think I'm looking forward to more than anything right now. Is that hunt?
Almudron.
It's
It looks
Almudron. Yeah,
very
it's
interesting.
it's
Looks very epic with the mud pillars and stuff that he does.
it's not just the Western audience. The Japanese audience as well are saying that it's like a subspecies for Mizutsune in a way.
Did you did you notice that there's a video in the Japanese Twitter where there is a lance user charging and he charges
Yes.
through the mud
Oh,
and he
my eyes
doesn't
went somewhere else. I didn't even look about where he was charging. I was looking at the effect of the status proc.
status proc the mud
So,
status proc. I'm lost here.
well, you would think I normally would have thought that it would have like a paralysis effect or whatever he's doing, but it has like a little mud sort of stinky like Volvidon fart effect when he
Oh,
procs.
mhm.
I don't know what that is. I've never seen that effect before. So I think we may have a new status ailment.
Interesting. But
Well, you
he
could run through the mud?
he charged through the mud. And a friend of mine, that friend Kegrin, was actually testing this in the demo earlier this morning. You can't do that in the demo right now. You can't like power through attacks of monsters. Whereas
Hmm.
in there, he powered through some kind of like a mud attack of Almudron, and my friend was saying some kind of different move set for the Lance charge lets you go through things, and I was just like, okay.
That's the beauty of the game. There seems to be all these little secrets and things and
they
trinkets
just
and abilities that we don't know about yet, and I'm
I
so
just
excited to
wish
see
they
it
would
all.
put them in trailers as opposed to like releasing them on Twitter videos because I miss so much of that stuff
Yeah.
because there's so many things on my feed. But yeah, It's very, very interesting. So another little tidbit of information that they released, I think about 4 hours before we started this podcast. They put out a little mini album on Spotify for Monster
Yeah,
Hunter
yeah.
Rise. So it's not the entirety of the original soundtrack, but there's a little mini album that's got the songs from Hinoa and Minoto, and it's got a couple of more tracks in there as well. Did you listen to any of that stuff yet?
Oh yeah, we listened to all of it yesterday. Kogath is always quick to the like he. I don't know how he finds this stuff so fast, but he shared it with me yesterday. It actually went up on Spotify. It's also on Apple Music, and even iTunes. If you don't have Apple, you can even buy it as well. So it's like $6 here.
Hmm.
But yeah, you've got the two songs from the demo, so we've heard those like small, short songs. But then they've got the full version of the Song of Purification. It's a 4-minute track of singing. This is the one that we sort of got a preview of in the I want to say the second trailer where they're
Yeah,
singing
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just not the same songs. It's
It's
such a
something like
good song.
on a
Yeah, yeah,
tahini,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah,
There you guys go. It's Serenade Us.
yeah. That was
Our new Hunter Maiden. Rurikhan.
no. I mean, people did tell me that I have the voice of an angel, one that fell on its face.
Hey, it sounded great. But yeah, that full song is a lovely. They have the theme song for the shrines, so it's like a 4-minute track. Then they had the full theme song for Magnum Malo called Barbarous
Oh,
Beast.
that's the Magnum Malo track.
Yeah, the fifth one is the Magnum Malo track. That's the one that you're hearing in the trailer, like the first one, with the like they had like sort of like the gear sounds and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. It's a full 4-minute and 23-second track, and it's very unlike anything I've heard before when it comes to a monster. It's really badass.
I haven't actually heard all of the tracks because I only became aware of this right before we started recording today.
Oh man!
But
And then you had
yeah,
the Proof of the Hero Rise version. They included the full version of that as well. So I figured I'm gonna probably end up using some of these songs in my videos or something as background. So it's like
yep.
the least I can do. I know they get they get money from downloading it from Apple Music, but I also bought it as well. It's like the least I can do is
Yeah.
try to give back a little bit because like, oh man, is it great? So I'm sure they're selling it everywhere, but even if you don't have Spotify or whatever services, just like it's
I
great.
gotta
I recommend it.
I gotta share with you this track that a friend of mine made as well, because like he got inspired by Monster Hunter Rise and he made like this kind of like epic track based
Yeah, I
around
heard
some.
it.
You've heard that one?
Yeah, you had posted it.
Oh right.
You talking about
Did you
that
like?
one?
Yeah. No, but it's
Yeah,
like
I liked it. It's really
full
good.
version. The full version though. He actually made a full version of it. It's so good. I really like it. I got to share the
Super
full
talented.
version of it with you. But yeah, it's good stuff. So besides the mini album, there's going to be a special Monster Hunter event that we didn't talk. I think
my
this was
God.
announced before our
After the
last.
last, yeah.
It was after the last
Oh,
podcast.
before?
I think it might have been before. I'm not sure. The tweet was on February 19th, and I don't remember when we recorded at this point. But
Man,
it was.
I can't wait.
I think it might have been on the same day, but yeah, there was a digital event that was announced. It's going to be the 8th of March at 2 p.m. GMT, 6 a.m. PST. So on the 8th of March, it says Monster Hunter digital event. So I'd expect something like developer, what do they call it? Developer diary.
Yeah. So
That's
I'm
what I
looking
would
at it now. So it's
That's what I would
I think the
expect for
first
that
one
one.
is a pre-recorded one. It's like a developer diary, the digital
Yeah.
event.
And then
In
on
Japanese, they're calling it the Monster Hunter Special Program. So this is like the pre-release big show, so to say.
Yeah, and then on the 9th of March, same time, so 6 a.m. PST and 2 p.m. GMT. I think this is going to be more of a live stream type format because they say they're going to show new Monster Hunter Rise gameplay. I'd expect to see Ryozu and Ichinose playing potentially, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a digital live event, so I'll probably have some people come in and do. It would not surprise me. I'm probably jumping the gun here. You're probably going to ask, but it wouldn't surprise me if during the digital live event on the 9th that they show off a rampage hunt.
Damn, I hope not. I want to like discover that stuff for myself, you know? I mean, they've showed a lot in trailers, so at this point, there's not a whole lot left to our imagination, but still. I mean,
Yeah,
considering that they mentioned here, you must analyze gameplay, hunting tutorials, and director Q&A. Maybe it could
that's
be a
interesting. Yeah,
rampage. Maybe it could be a rampage thing, and they're going to teach you what the mechanics of rampage are.
yeah.
That
Hunting
might be
tutorials is
what
interesting because
they.
they don't mention this in the Japanese at all. So this is like them going above and beyond and giving us extra juicy
What
details.
What are they saying in the Japanese then for March 9th?
They just call it a digital live event. That's it.
Oh wow!
They don't say anything.
In the West, it's so different. New Monster Rise gameplay, hunting tutorials, and director Q&A. Now,
I
the
know,
director
right?
Q&A, by the way, they made another tweet below this one where they say, got any Monster Rise questions for director Ichinose?
Yes.
Reply with them here, and he will answer some during the anniversary week stream. So
What did you do?
I
I
haven't
responded to
typed
that.
anything. I haven't typed anything yet.
No. I responded immediately with, I want to know if there's going to be Rumble in the full game or not.
I 100% guarantee there's going to be Rumble. I mean, GU has HD Rumble. There's no way they're not putting Rumble on this.
I don't know.
Nah,
I hope
dude,
so. I do. I hope so. But the
guarantee
fact is,
there's Rumble.
we don't know, right?
No.
So,
I
it'd be
know. I
nice.
guarantee there's Rumble. I'm calling it right here. If there's not Rumble, you guys are gonna have to
Watch
live
your next word.
If there's not Rumble, you'll just have to live with it, man. It is what it is. But I'm gonna say there is.
I bet there's gonna be Rumble. Don't jinx it. Someone at Capcom's listening. They're like, okay, you know what? Let's cut that feature.
Let's just cut it to spite him.
Exactly.
But then on March 11th, there's going to be a community live stream, but they don't have a timing for that. So that I would imagine
Yeah, they
be
only
something
do that
with,
in Japan. They don't
that's
do that
only
in Japan. That's a Western only thing,
Oh,
which
okay.
I love.
So
It's
I think this would probably be, I'm imagining Socks and Yuri like on a call
on
or something
Twitch,
like that.
I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, that's what I think. And then they might bring in like some hunters from the community and people from chat and stuff like that to hunt.
But the thing is they're giving it away. I think what they plan to do, because
This
think
is a
about it.
demo.
It's a Monster Hunter Rise event, and then they're going to do a community live stream. So they're going to hunt
It's a
with
demo.
viewers.
Yeah.
It's a demo. Like, they just gave it away. This is a demo number 2 because and it's going to probably come timing TBC. So yeah, okay, March 11th, demo 2. Like, it's practically written in stone.
I would imagine that the demo actually comes March 9th.
Day
Well,
before?
maybe not March 9th, because March 9th that would still get us to tune in.
So maybe
to
March
watch.
10th.
So maybe March 10th. That's
Yeah,
what is
10th,
March
11th,
10th,
yeah.
by the way? Like, what day is it? Let me see. March 10th is a Wednesday. So 9 makes more sense because usually stuff either releases on Tuesdays or Thursdays, I think, right? So maybe 9
Yeah, I
makes
don't know.
more sense.
It's a demo, so who knows?
Yeah.
But I think they pretty much gave away that there's going to be a demo. So
Yeah, you can probably expect the new demo somewhere between 8th and 11th. Now, there is a good point here, which is you and I have been saying that, Magnum Malo is coming, it's inevitable, but they could throw a curveball at us and instead of Magnum Malo have a Rampage event because it's also an endgame activity. Or do you think it's Magnum Malo? Because story tells us it would be Magnum Malo, but it's something as different as Rampage. I think they could just have a Rampage type quest for us to get a taste of what that feels like. But that would mean they would have to either give us an Apex
old school
or
mentality. I'd say old school mentality, like before World, I would have said, okay, it's probably gonna be Somnicanth. Give us access to the second map. Let us play with Somnicanth. It seemed like a good shoe-in, but now with the amount of attention that just having Nergigante in the demo in the West, I think did a really good job of getting people hyped for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reception so far to Magnum Malo has been high interest. So, and the fact that they're showing people playing against Magnum Malo in the Japanese commercial that just started airing. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I haven't seen that.
So there's a Nintendo commercial where they're trying to call back people who used to play as students together.
Oh,
so they're showing they're like adults
that.
now, and now they're getting together online at their homes instead of where they used to get together at class, and they were showing them hunting a Magnum Malo. So that to me is like, okay, the writing's on the wall. It seems like they're probably going to add him to the demo.
Yeah, that
was interesting because that commercial showed some effects that we've never seen before. Like there was a blue outline across the sharpness meter for longsword. We've never seen that before. So I don't know what that mechanic is. And we got confirmation that Magnamalo's Hellfire is a special blight. It's a brand new status element. We don't know what it does, but it's got its own unique icon when the hunter got hit by it. That was a really interesting, like 15-second, 30-second commercial.
It's a don't blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah. So, but it would be neat to have Rampage. I just don't know if it just feels like that's going to be more endgamey stuff, and I don't know if they would want to have anybody touching that.
Like I said,
early.
To me, the less you show me, the better, but I will consume whatever you do show me and talk about it. So it is what it is.
Just the way that the menu was laid out though in the first demo, it's just, and we talked about it, like the intermediate instead of advanced and stuff like that. It just seems perfect that they'll just slot in one more hunt in there.
Yeah. I completely agree. It might be Magnum Malo, particularly because of the advertisement. I forgot about that one because I watched it earlier this week, and then I just forgot about it.
Oh, we deserve and we should get a Kezu demo. Come on, do it.
Justice for Kezu.
And people will be like, "What's with this game? There's not even background music for the monster. Like, what's going on here?"
What do you mean? He's got the best background music. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Silencio.
Just gonna keep riding that meme till the day I die.
Exactly. But so what are you most excited for this digital event?
For this digital event, one of the things I wouldn't say it's what I'm most excited for, but if you notice, that also has Monster Hunter Stories 2 in there. I'm very curious to see what they're going to talk about Stories 2, how the two games are going to connect, what do you get from one, what do you get from the other. I'm not sure if that is going to be what they're talking about, but either way, I'm very interested in hearing more about Hunter Stories 2. You know what would be perfect for this event? For them to just announce suddenly, oh, by the way, we finally did the thing and we ported Monster Hunter Stories to the Switch. They'd be like, yes!
Oh, my God. Wouldn't that be awesome?
But it's probably not going to happen. But that would be like... Yeah. That'd be so good for me.
I mean, they're trying so hard to push marketing here in Japan with their initial marketing burst that you do not have to have played the first game. It's called Stories 2, but they're like paranoid that people... So but if they released it, it almost makes it feel like, from a marketing standpoint, right? It almost then gives a feeling like, okay, the sequel's coming out, you want to play the first one. Yeah. And that's not the case here. It's literally like another story in the universe, so you don't have to play it. So I think from marketing, it would be a bad move, even though I want it.
Yeah. Because, I've gotten a tablet because that makes it easier for sometimes if I have a computer for my kid for the homeschooling stuff. But if we're not around a computer, I have the tablet so I can still connect to like his online classes through the tablet and he can, learn that way. So I bought a tablet specifically for that. And then I installed Monster Hunter Stories on it. And you were right, dude. That thing on the tablet looks so good. And it runs way better than on my phone because my phone's getting a little bit long in the tooth. But that thing runs so well on the tablet. I'm like, I just hate these controls. If I could only play with a controller, man, that'd be so good. But I just want to hear more about Stories 2 at this point. Because Rise, it's one of those things that the less I hear about it, the happier I am. Because I just want to play the final thing. It's just, you're just in this constant state of tease. And I'm just like, just let me play it. and you've gone ahead and you've said that you're actually not going to play a review copy if you get it early.
Yeah, I've already said that if I have that opportunity, I won't take it. And if I find a store that's selling it early, I won't take it. I will not. I'll play it on launch day. Yuna's last day of school is the 25th, I found out, not the 26th. So that next day, the next morning, we'll be both waiting for the delivery man to come with our big Palamute plushes, and it's going to be exciting. And we're gonna experience it with everybody, and it's going to be really fun.
I think that a lot of people do not understand that particular take. Like, how's the feedback been to that video?
It's been interesting. So I think some people just misunderstood it because they're like, well, what if you can get an early copy for Yuna too? Like, what if there's a store? Or what if there's a review copy? I'm like, that's not the point.
That's not the problem.
The point is you wait for release date. All the stores, the commercials, everyone in the community globally are going to start the game together. The event quests, when they start coming out, you're going to be at that level. So it's going to be exciting there's just something special about waiting for release date for this type of stuff. So
There definitely is, and it's like I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna do that. I know that I should
yeah.
because,
But you
but
know what?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, just the reception has been so positive on that video I did, and people just, I think they get it, and they're like, "Man, I'm jealous. Like, this is gonna be such a memorable experience for
It
you and your
is
daughter." Like, and in the end, I think people realize that my videos will be better for it. Like, I will have the power of hindsight and the learning of the community
because
when I make those videos.
it's also the fact that the first Monster Hunter that I've covered ahead of time, and I say covered ahead of time, like I probably did an early live stream where I was allowed to show a couple of quests or something like that,
Mm,
because ultimately, I only really started playing past the embargo point when it was allowed, and I did it live so that everybody could follow my progress along the way throughout
nice.
world. And I'm probably going to do something similar with Rise. But I completely lost my train of thought. It's good.
Playing early,
Yeah,
not
but
playing
the
early.
the whole the whole thing about playing early and not playing early, no, it's gone. It really is gone.
Wow, it's gone. Wow. But I'll tell you the one thing, I'm you know me, I'm still, that I'm happy to, she suggested it and I'm actually 1000% on board. It's not like me doing it for her or sacrificing. Like, this is something I want to, I want to play the game like this. So like, that's our decision. That's not
Yeah.
a her decision.
Oh, I just
Her
reminded.
decision though is, there is one thing that she decided that I personally would have not have wanted, but she doesn't want us to play the demo if it has Magnum Malo. So
Dude,
that's not a that's not a
I
me request.
I
I
am
have no
proud of
problem.
Yuna. I am proud of Yuna right now. I'm super proud.
Yeah,
That's
so and she's like, but in the when we're playing the game and we finally get to him, it's gonna be like a huge event. It's gonna be,
yes.
we're gonna be nervous. We don't know what he's capable, what he's gonna do. She's like,
Yes.
I don't want us watching videos. I don't want us playing against him. That is gonna be, she's like, it's the flagship monster. I want to experience it like you should. I'm like, okay, I'll give you
She
this one.
has a greater appreciation for the game than a lot of people do. Like that is, I can 100% understand it.
But
By
you
the
know what? I
way,
think back in my first Monster Hunter was like that. So I think she gets it. The experience should be sacred.
yeah, and I reminded myself, by the way, what I was saying is like I had the first time that I covered it early was Monster Hunter World. You, on the other hand, you've been covering these games early since what?
Well, see, it's not been like that because they used to release. I was thinking about this myself. I was like, why is it that I never felt this problem with like what I covered in the video, which was like the rush to finish it, not making the early game stuff, having less, like I just the burnout, and I
Yeah.
realized every game before World came out in Japan first.
Yes.
So I already hit endgame, and I had the benefit of the entire community and everything before I even thought about playing the English version and making videos on it.
Yeah. I remember. I
So
remember. I
that's
think it
where I was
was.
playing it early, so to say.
I remember. I think it was 4, but I remember you tweeted. I think it was maybe 2 days or something like that after the game came out. You're like, I finished it. Did the last fight, was a lot of fun. And someone,
Yeah,
I think
it was
someone
for
from staff,
Ultimate, I think.
and someone from staff sent you a message. Please don't spoil it for anybody
Yeah,
else.
because I think it was for Ultimate because I got the English version, and within 2 days we had beat Gogma. Like that got through all of it really fast.
Yeah.
But then World was the first game I ever got the opportunity to play a game, so to say, before release. And there's something incredibly cool and fun and giddy, and
Yeah.
this is like it's a game industry thing as well. If you become a journalist or a developer or market, if you ever get into those types of jobs where you get access, it's always fun having secret fun access, but there's a price to pay for it. The fact that you can't tell anybody, you can't talk about it, it's literally your little secret you got to keep. And then, like I was discussing in my video, you're far ahead by the time everyone starts the game, so you're kind of waiting for everybody to catch up. But if you're a content creator full time, it's great because you got lots of insight and you can do lots of videos and stuff. But that's not what I'm not. I'm going to be a huge content creator for this game, but my first and foremost is the experience. This, both as a gamer
It's
myself and also as a father.
it's like it's the same thing that we were talking about earlier. How about the mentality of live streaming a video game is very different from sitting down and just playing and enjoying a game. It's a very different thing to just like, you're booting up the game and you're thinking about, I gotta do a tutorial for this. I need to be recording this
Yeah.
thing and I need to be recording that. And it's like, these are first world problems. Like, I'm not saying this as a complaint because a lot of times people, whenever I talk about this subject, people are like, oh, it must be hard. And it's like, no, it's not hard at all. I can guarantee you
Yeah.
it's not hard at all. Like, I understand the privilege and all of that. I just want to present the counterpoint that it's a very
Yeah.
different way of enjoying the game, and I can completely understand the points that Gaijin was making when he talked about that stuff, particularly when you're going to be experiencing it with Yuna for the first time around, which is going to be friggin' fantastic. I can only
Yeah,
hope
so
that one
Iceburn is her
day.
first game, but I've seen everything, so there was no sharing. There's no shared experience in the excitement of the thrill of not knowing what you're doing and running around in a hunt, and that
I
I'm
can
looking
only
forward
hope
to.
that one day my children will also kind of like get into Monster Hunter, and I will be able to do that too. But yeah. So I wanted to bring another topic as well. So this past week you've watched the movie. I haven't watched the movie yet because I can't find it on any of like Portugal's online services. I'd have to do
Mm,
VPN stuff, and I don't feel like paying for a VPN right now. Maybe I'll do it later. So I don't have an easy way to watch it at this point. But
yeah.
you've watched Monster Hunter movie, and I was very surprised by your reaction. You're just like, I hate it. I hate everything it represents. It disgusts me. And I was like, dude, we were just talking about you watching it as a popcorn flick. I
I
don't
know, right?
understand. So without spoilers, though, we're not going to get into spoilers for anyone that
No
hasn't watched
spoilers,
it
so don't
yet.
freak out, guys. No spoilers at
But
all.
just like, tell us without spoilers what pissed you off so much that you're just like, I hate it. Burn it with fire.
I know it's just and I let me first say this because I've seen some weird attitudes on Twitter. There's some people who actually enjoyed the film, whether it's just because they flat out enjoyed it or they said, you know what, I wanted it to be a dumb popcorn flick and I didn't expect it to be very true to the game anyways. So I actually had a good time. That's awesome. And if anything, I'm jealous because that's how I wanted it to be. So there's nothing wrong. People are like, oh, this person has bad taste. I'm like, no, they have taste. Like everyone has their own taste. They enjoy different stuff.
Not,
So my
let
opinion
me
is not
just
necessarily going to be the
let
same.
me just do an addendum to that, okay? All of this is valid for everything except
Yeah.
The Last Jedi, okay? If you like The Last Jedi, I hate you until the end of your days. Keep going.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment on any of that.
I'm just
I won't touch
joking.
that with a 10-foot lightsaber. No, I'm just,
Keep
no.
going. Keep going.
So I went into it. My expectations were it was going to be laughably bad. It was going to be a bad story, bad script, good visuals because everything I've seen so far, the visuals look really good. And it was just going to be a popcorn flick, that I can laugh at almost because I like B-rated movies and stuff
Yeah.
like that's a thing. And there's one thing that got in the way of me enjoying it as a bad movie, which was taking the DNA of what makes Monster Hunter and either flat out ignoring it or I call it like it's perverse in how they did it. It's the polar opposite of what it should be. So to me, it was worse than somebody who didn't understand Monster Hunter and they kind of got it, but they kind of didn't. To me, it felt like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we turned it 180? Like if we completely reversed it. What if instead of there being, I can't talk about story. There's a warmth that comes with the Monster Hunter world, right? I can give
Yeah.
one example without being spoilery. If you think it's spoilery, you can cut it later. I don't think it is. There's a warmth in the world of Monster Hunter, right? And
Yes.
there's camaraderie, right? Hunters are kind to other hunters. There's community. That is the basis of
Yeah.
the entire franchise. That's gone completely. Everything about the world of Monster Hunter, if I could swear, they're all assholes. And the world is dark, unfriendly, and uninviting. Everything that I feel Monster Hunter is not is exactly how is portrayed in the movie, and that's how I felt it was. So to me, like that was gone, and it's not the lack of that. It doesn't feel like you even get a hint of what Monster Hunter is as a franchise. Like they can mess up Diablos, they can do weird stuff with I don't care. so much. But when you start changing the core feel of what it means to be a monster hunter or what that world is, I got issues with that. And
Because
that to me,
ultimately,
I mean,
monster
mm,
hunters are hunting for the balance of the ecosystem, despite what some misguided journalists might say about Monster Hunter. The ultimate purpose is the balance. Like, there are some monsters that mess with the balance of an ecosystem, and we're there to set that balance straight. Every single quest that we do in Monster Hunter is to set the balance between the hunters, the monsters, and the ecosystem to ensure that things last for as long as possible. This is represented all across Monster Hunter in the way that they build their villages, in the way that they craft their armor, in the way that they craft their weapons.
yeah.
All of this is about balancing the ecosystem. Like,
So
you
it's so
see
weird. Like
them
people are like,
you see them
oh,
like
sorry.
eating those big meals and like, oh my god, look at all the meat they're eating. Yes, they're doing so, but it's all made in a way where the ecosystem stays alive and balanced. Not like they're out there murdering millions of aptonoths to eat all the meat in the ecosystem. It's done in a
Yeah. So like,
very
people are like,
calculated way.
oh, you saw the military people. It was warning sign number one. I'm like, no, not at all. I
Yeah.
actually don't mind that at all. I
The
actually think that was
isekai,
fine.
yeah.
And that didn't bother, they didn't even bother me at all. Like at all. I was totally fine with that. I was fine with the we watched it in English because the movie on Google Play Store here, it was the American version. Yuna does not speak English yet. But she was able to watch it and understand everything perfectly fine because there's like no dialogue that you actually need to know. It's a very sit back, turn off your brain, enjoy it. It's by all means it should be a bad, awesome popcorn flick. But it's just if you can't adhere to the brand pillars or at least not mess with them, it just as a Monster Hunter fan, it made it unwatchable to me. Like we made a bowl of popcorn and we were gonna sit back and we were expected to be bad. Our jaws were like this the entire like dumb like what the hell am I watching right now? And no, that they shouldn't. What? No, that's wrong. And then we'd end up not even eating our popcorn. We were so disgusted just watching it, like in like disbelief of every scene.
I think
It
I
was very unenjoyable.
I think I get the idea of, like, if we can deal with a lot of stuff like the isekai stuff, the military stuff, and all of that. But I do get that if you don't properly represent the community of the Hunters Guild and all of that stuff, then yeah, that is a
I mean,
problem.
this is not in the movie, thank God. But the way I would one example I'll give you is, what if they told you that monsters were actually machines from Mars, and inside of them were circuitry, like that type of perversion? Like it's totally like
Oh
I don't even know
god,
what that is. Like that's not the film. Like what is it? Like that's how off it felt for me. I
Jesus
will say though,
Christ!
the visuals are gorgeous. So Mr. X, like that production company, and I unfortunately hurt their feelings because I saw them respond to one of my tweets like, "Wow, you hated everything." I was like, "Well, the visuals are good," and like, oh, thank God, because I was really worried that they were worried that they dropped the ball there, but they didn't. It was actually a waste of a very good production company because I thought the visuals are great. It's just the application from a directorial standpoint, I hated. The
Yeah,
music soundtrack was off, like everything just completely off. So
I
I
can't
don't
wait to be
I got
disappointed
some
by
beef
it.
with Capcom though, I gotta say. I know it's licensed, they just license out, they don't have any creative they don't get the creative
But
they don't have
yeah,
the time, the resources, or the
it
when you
does
put your name
diminish
on
a
something
brand.
though,
Yeah, that type of
come
stuff
on.
reminds me, for instance, of Warhammer, where it's like, if you do you have some leftover gum somewhere, because we can go and get like a franchise deal to make a Warhammer game if you want, like with some leftover gum. That's how cheap they sell their brand. You see like a bazillion Warhammer like mobile games that just suck and are terrible. Not even good mobile games, just bad. You see a bazillion even bad games on Steam that are with the Warhammer branding, and it sucks, right? It dilutes the brand. It dilutes things that are good about
Yeah.
the brand. And this movie, according to what you're telling me, is one of those things that also dilutes the brand of Monster Hunter. So
So it's weird. Like they had those interviews and they said, "Oh, the team was really focused on making sure the monsters were done right or whatever." So I was like excited, saying, "At least I'll get some cool monster scenes, right?"
yeah,
And while I think the models are fantastic and they move like they should move, the way those monsters were used is I didn't feel was true to the game at all, and I kind of feel like Capcom wasn't involved in that. Or maybe it was even worse. Maybe they saw it and they said, "Wow, this shit is so bat crazy and out there. Like, okay, this must be what Hollywood's all about. Like, that's just bizarre. Like, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah, because
the
there's
further away from
also
the game, then maybe the better, right? Because it becomes its own thing."
I think that might also be the whole thing with the culture barrier there between Japanese game
Mm,
developers and Hollywood directors. Because even Hollywood stories, to put a little bit more context into this, I keep telling that I play Final Fantasy XIV, and Final Fantasy XIV is a game that is very near and dear to me because of the story. And this is
mm,
Japanese storytelling, right? In Final Fantasy XIV, and I think the story of that game is amazing. Like the some scenes in that game take me to, I get teary eyed because it's so powerful. And I can't remember the last time a Hollywood movie was able to get nearly that much emotion out of me. So I think there's a big culture disconnect there between Japanese storytelling and Hollywood storytelling.
yeah.
And I
But
clearly have a personal preference towards Japanese storytelling.
yeah. My suggestion is, I mean, you might like the movie. Um, I obviously didn't. My only suggestion to people is just because I felt it was more than disappointment to me. I felt hurt
Insulting.
that they would do that, and yeah, it felt hurt that they would do that to the brand, and not capture the essence of it at all. And so I would say that if you're on the fence or if you don't have expendable income, rent it. Find a way to rent it. I think is a good advice. I went ahead and just bought it because that was the only option. I don't mind. I didn't mind the expense, but don't go in there expecting it to have any to be faithful to the franchise at all. And as long as you're
Basically
cool with that,
separated, just separated from actual Monster Hunter
like
is
go
what
into
you're
a
saying.
room to a kid who's only watched Michael Bay movies or something, show him figurines of Rathalos and Diablos and say, "Okay, make a cool movie. Bye." And that's what you'll get.
Jesus.
Because I don't think that they've ever played the games,
That
obviously.
is
Because
that is
either
very
that or he's brain
disappointing.
dead and he's like, or they said, "You know what? I want this to feel unique, so I'm going to turn it upside down." Because like some producers like doing that,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
you swip the formula and that's the hook. Like maybe that's what they were going for. And if that doesn't bother you, great. But man, did it bother me to a point where I actually am unhappy that I watched the movie because now I have this memory in my head of seeing a Monster Hunter that I don't know and I don't love, and it bothers me. So
It's
I'm
just
disappointed, and I was going there with a very low bar. All they need to do was have some really cringy, bad dialogue and story with a few cool scenes. I would have been good.
it's weird because anyone who knows you knows that you're usually pretty positive about most things. So I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever seen you be this negative about almost anything, particularly when it comes
I've never
like,
felt this
you know,
negative about a
you've
movie.
you can be negative about stuff, but like I'm talking specifically about a product for entertainment. I've never seen you be this negative about a product, and you've played Cyberpunk for crying out loud. So
Like,
yeah,
yeah, so like I don't mind broken experiences or weird stuff. It's still there's still entertainment to be had in my eyes, and I'm always looking at what we did get versus what we didn't. So like I can generally find areas to walk away saying, yeah, it was bad, but whatever. I had a good time or whatever. But this one, man, I don't think I've ever felt this bad about something ever. Like it crushed me to see that. And it just reaffirms my deep love, I think, that I feel. And I don't think if you enjoyed it that you don't love Monster Hunter. I think
yeah,
it's just
it's
different. It just personally it just rubbed me so wrong. Man.
damn.
Uh but yeah, if you are listening to this or if you're watching on YouTube, do not post any spoilers in the
Yeah,
comments because I know some people get a little carried away. Like it's
no
not
spoilers, please.
it's not an epic movie, but don't talk about what's in there, what may not be in there, or anything. Like, be respectful to other people's experience. I think that's part of a hunter
Oh yeah,
mentality.
I'll
So
tell you right now. If I come across any spoilers in this comment section, I'm just hiding you from the channel forever. So
you'll be talking to the void forever.
yeah, so just be aware of that.
But I
Uh,
sincerely hope that everyone else who's listening, if they haven't watched it and they plan to, I hope that you're like, okay, I get Gaijin's point, but I didn't mind it so much. I hope that's your
yeah.
experience. I hope you enjoy it because no one should walk away this disappointed. I think it's not a fun thing.
So
But
This week's episode is actually going to be a little bit smaller because Gaijin also has a ton of stuff that he's got to get done. But I do want to bring one final topic to the table, and that is,
Yes, sir.
I've been doing a Monster Hunter Rise all weapons tournament in my channel through the YouTube poll feature. It's like a popularity contest almost for the community of the Iron Breakers and stuff. And basically, I post polls, and I've been posting polls throughout the past couple of days. And the idea is, I picked up all of the weapons in the game, but YouTube only lets you put 5 things at a time. So I put them in the same order that they are in the official website, right?
Okay.
And I put them 5 at a time. So, for instance, the first round was Greatsword, Longsword, Sword, and Shield. You're not looking it up, are you? I can see you.
No.
Okay.
No, I just checking, making sure there wasn't an earthquake right now because this house
Your
is shaking.
neighbors are breaking your house down. I'm so sorry. But so the first one was Greatsword, Longsword, Sword, and Shield, Dual Blades, and Lance. Which weapon do you think won?
Wait a second. Wait a second. You put a poll with Lance and you didn't have it going up against the gun Lance?
No, because like I said, I put it in order to be neutral. I put it in the same order that it is in the official website. Since I can't only put 5, Lance is in there. But don't worry, because I had a loser.
So popularity contest. Okay, so popularity contest between those 5.
Yeah.
So my gut tells me one thing and my mind tells me another. So I'll just tell you both. So my gut tells me that Iron Breakers probably appreciate the Greatsword more, but in general, Monster Hunter current day environment, Longsword takes the cake.
Damn, that was very accurate. Yep, the Greatsword 27%, Longsword 24%. Which one came in third? Do you think?
Sword and Shield.
Damn! Holy crap! Dual Blades had the lowest vote of all, which of all the polls. So I actually just eliminated the Dual Blades because they were so friggin' low, which I kind of felt sorry. So second round.
Okay.
Gunlance, Hammer, Hunting Horn, Switch Axe, and Charge Blade.
Oh, jeez. What a group.
Yeah. This was the point where I was like, I feel really bad about doing it in the order that's in the website.
Jesus. Okay, so let me think for a second here. I'm trying to think of your audience as well and just the vibe I get from the Iron Breakers.
Basically, the way that I'm doing these, by the way, is like top 3 get qualified for the semifinals. The top 2 get to go to the losers bracket. From the losers bracket, I'll pick 2 more weapons so that I can have 10 weapons for the semifinals.
Okay, I think I'm going to be wrong here, but my brain tells me I think Hammer won, but I also think that your audience would not be so cruel as to not let the Gun Lance not be in there. So I would say first Hammer, second Gun Lance. Way off.
So off that Hammer was the second lowest and Gun Lance was the actual lowest. They did me dirty. I actually sent out a tweet where I said, I'll never forgive you for this.
Oh, wow. They trolled you hard. Wow.
Yeah, the Hunting Horn won. The Hunting Horn won with 25%. Second place was Charge Blade. Third place was Switch Axe. Then
they're trolling you a little bit there.
A lot.
Wow.
They're trolling me a lot. On the third round, it was Insect Glaive, Bow, Light Bowgun, and Heavy Bowgun.
Wait, Insect Glaive, Bow, and the Bowguns. Okay, so Heavy Bowgun's going to be number 1, I think. And second would be Bow.
Bow was indeed the second. Heavy Bowgun was the third.
Really?
Light Bowgun was the fourth. Insect Glaive won 44%. 44%.
Can I get some amens, everybody? Come on.
And then I did the losers bracket, from which only 2 weapons emerge. And if you remember, the losers bracket was Gunlance, Lance, the bowguns, and hammer.
God, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to put the bowguns as
The
the winner.
bowguns as the winner? I mean, they were the lowest
Of the
voted
heavy?
earlier.
I don't. You've destroyed my whole my confidence. I
Hammer
still think that Hammer would have been up there. I don't know why it didn't get
Hammer
in the.
won the losers
Wow.
bracket, and the gun lance was second place. So my gun lance gets to fight in the semifinals, where it
Oh
will be
wow.
eliminated in favor of the hunting horn for sure. Like hunting horn is
Hunting
really
horn?
beast. People love
That's
the hunting horn in Rise, which I was really surprised by. But yeah. But I'm going to be
wow.
posting the first round of semifinals soon. I actually think I have the weapons here that I'm going to put there. It's going to be hunting. For this, I made a personal selection to avoid the problems that I had earlier. So on the first one, it's going to be sword and shield, switch axe, hammer, gun lance, and bow. Then the other one is hunting horn, great sword, long sword, charge blade, and insect glaive. So I kind of tried grouping the more popular weapons together. And then after that round, I have a finals because I'm going to pull 2 weapons from each of these, and that's going to be the finals.
Vote, guys, vote.
But
Get out there, make your voice heard.
This was very interesting for me as well to just like see what the weapon popularity was like among my community. It was friggin' crazy.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yep. A lot of really curveballs in those votes, but yeah. Anyway, guys, that is going to be this week's Third Fleet podcast. You will have more next week. And yeah, get ready for next week is still not the next week we still have time to talk.
Yeah, it's still not there.
It's still not the digital event, but I think that's probably the only time that we'll get like any news, right? Is during the next digital event.
That's my assumption. Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah. As per usual, guys, links to Gaijin stuff in the, not in the comment section, but in the description of this video. All of that stuff, links to our Discords in there as well, if you guys want to check that stuff out. But that is going to be it for today. If you guys enjoy the podcast, hit the like button, helps us out a lot. If you do not enjoy it, hit the dislike button because feedback is also important. And if you want suggestions for topics and stuff that you would like us to talk about, feel free to post that in the comment section because I always go through these videos right before each of the podcasts. We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay strong, stay safe,
And happy hunting.